Imagine going on a journey that has constant speed bumps and red lights. That's the fate of the 12 large distressed companies facing insolvency proceedings. We're at the end of May and the 270-day resolution deadline for most of these 12 accounts has expired. With litigation on every step on the way, only one of the 12 large accounts is somewhat near the completion line. Vishwanath Nair reports on the litigation life of the Dirty Dozen.
Let's start in an alphabetical order, and the first case to look at is what happened with ABG Shipyard. Now, ABG Shipyard's corporate insolvency resolution period that actually ended on 28th of April. That was about a month ago. But there have been 3 rounds of bidding. And in all 3 rounds, Liberty House UK has participated as the preferred bidder, as the bidder interested in the company. The banks rejected the first 2 bids, but for the 3rd round, the resolution professional has been asked by the NCLT to consider this as the official bid and whether this will actually pass the lender's muster. Let's look at the next case, and that is Alok Industries. Now, Alok Industries was one of the first few cases to see liquidation within this universe of 12 cases under the insolvency program. There again, the resolution period actually ended on the 14th of April, but then we are still seeing a lot of action on that because the employees at Alok Industries have gone to the NCLT seeking a stay on liquidation. They don't want the company to be liquidated. But then, of course, the lenders are in favor of liquidating the company because the only bid that came for the company from Reliance Industries was not actually giving the lenders any value, and therefore they rejected it. Let's look at what has happened in the next case, and that is Amtech Auto. Now remember, Amtech Auto is one of those cases that was widely discussed even before the whole insolvency program started, and there were multiple resolution plans pre-insolvency which were being implemented in the company. There again, the due date for this 270-day deadline that has actually ended on the 20th of April. Here again, Liberty House was the only bidder that participated. The lenders had in fact approved that bid. But after that, certain details about Liberty House came to light, wherein it was proved that they had not repaid some of their lenders, and therefore they did not pass the Section 29A requirement, considering they were classified as NPS by some of their lenders. The next hearing in this matter at the NCLT is due for May of 30th. Let's look at what is happening in the next case in this list of 12, and that is Bhushan Power and Steel. Now, Bhushan Power and Steel was probably expected to be the first case where some kind of resolution could have been reached because Tata Steel had pipped JSW Steel in terms of the value they were offering to the lenders, and the lenders were in favor. But Liberty House UK came in at the last minute. They in fact came in after the last minute, after the due date for bidding got over, and they said that their bid should be considered. The NCLT took a favorable view and said that Liberty House needs to be considered as one of the bidders in this case. The people involved, especially Tata Steel, went to the appellate tribunal, and the appellate tribunal also said that Liberty House's bid should be considered, considering that the insolvency and resolution program does not mandate any kind of deadline for submitting a bid. There, the COC is currently considering all 3 bids, JSW, Tata Steel, as well as Liberty House UK, and some kind of resolution plan will be finalized in the coming days. Let's look at the next case, and that's the only case that actually has been closed as per the insolvency program that has been created. Tata Steel emerged as the highest bidder. The lenders approved it. After that, the NCLT approved it. Tata Steel, in fact, took over all the controlling stake in the company and has appointed people on the board as well as on the management of the company. So that takeover is over. But Neeraj Singhal, who is the promoter of Bhushan Steel, has actually gone to the appellate tribunal and has challenged Tata Steel's buyout in this case and said that they should not be allowed to take over the company, and that as promoters of the company, Neeraj Singhal and his family should be given a chance to actually bid for Bhushan Steel. Let's look at what's happening in the next case now. After Bhushan Steel, the next case is Electro Steels, widely tipped as the first case where the NCLT approved the plan and the insolvency and resolution program should have actually closed. Remember, the deadline there was on the 17th of April, so that should have gotten over already. But Renaissance Steel, who was the other bidder in this case, Vedanta emerged as the highest bidder, and Renaissance Steel, who was the other bidder, said that Vedanta is not eligible because of Section 29A issues, and that they should not be considered for this company. The NCLAT now is going to hear it later this month, and some kind of resolution there is expected after that. Let's look at what is happening in the next case, and that is Era Infra and Engineering. There was a lot of delay with respect to IRA's, what was happening in the case. The case was not admitted under the insolvency program till May, till just this month, and that's why the entire insolvency program will start now, and then it will take 6 to 9 months for a bidder to come into place and the insolvency program to actually close. Let's quickly move on to the next case in the list, and that's Essar Steel. Now here, a lot of developments have happened. New Metal and ArcelorMittal are two bidders in this case who are fighting against each other. They're also fighting against the lenders of Essar Steel, saying that they are fully eligible to bid for Essar Steel and they should not be barred. But the lenders feel that Section 29 applies to both of them and neither of them should be allowed. ArcelorMittal actually paid off all of its dues in the Uttam Gala as well as the KSS Petron case, but New Metal has claimed that it is not ineligible to bid for Essar Steel. So that fight is still going on. In fact, the NCLAT, the Appellate Tribunal, has put all insolvency proceedings on hold till the 23rd of July. All insolvency proceedings, including liquidation. So it's only on the 23rd of July is when we'll know what exactly happens in this case. Let's quickly move on to another case with JP Infratech, again, another liquidation case. The only bidder who was finalized by lenders, that was Lakshadweep Investments. Their bid was actually created in accordance with what the lenders wanted in this case, but then finally when it came to voting, the lenders voted against this plan, and therefore the company finally went into liquidation. The Supreme Court on its part has stayed all proceedings till the 15th of June. They've actually asked the promoters to pay up about 1,000 crore within that period, and if they're not able to repay that 1,000 crore, then the liquidation proceedings continue as planned. The next hearing at the Supreme Court is due for the 4th of July now. After that, let's move on to Jyoti Structures. Now, this is a Bombay-based case where the lenders voted for a plan, but by the time the entire voting process got over and the highest bidder was found, this deadline of 31st of March had actually passed. So the resolution professional approached the NCLT to ask them to consider the lenders voting as binding in this case and the bidder to be finalized in this case. But the NCLT still has been delaying this case, and now the next hearing is due for the 13th of June. That's when we'll get to know what the NCLT thinks of this delayed voting. After Jyoti Structures, we now move on to Lanco Infratech. Again, another liquidation case. So this Hyderabad-based company has been facing a lot of issues since a few years now. In fact, Lanco Infratech's promoter had tried to sell off some of the assets that they owned so that they could repay the lenders, but that could not happen. The case went into insolvency. Finally, no credible bidder came up. There was one bidder, Triveni Earth Movers, who had the highest bid in this whole case, but the lenders thought that their bid was too low and therefore they could not be considered. Case has gone now for liquidation. Further proceedings are still pending. After Lanco Infratech, we have one of the last cases, which is Monnet Ispat and Energy. Again here, JSW Aeon's bid was approved by the lenders and everybody thought that this case was going to close, but the NCLT, which has to give the final nod in this matter, has been delaying this. The NCLT is still waiting on delivering an order in the Monnet Ispat matter. Only after that will we come to know what happens to the resolution plan there. So that was a quick update on all of the 12 cases and where they stand. Remember, the deadline has passed in all of these cases and still we're waiting for anything other than Bhushan Steel to actually close.
Well, a timely resolution was supposed to be the unique selling point of the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. But with courts excluding the litigation period out of the 270 days timeline, looks like the IBC may fail to deliver on its promise of speedy recovery of distressed assets. That's all there is on this week's show. Do send us your feedback. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.